If you're towing an RV on a regular basis, then you're probably using some of the same devices that we use. RV GPS, tire pressure monitoring system, and a backup and observation camera. And if you're like me, you're using all three. And so what that does to the cab of your truck, it just kind of clogs up the dashboard and makes it look like the cockpit of a 747. But what if I told you you could take two of those systems and combine them into one? Would I get your attention? Well, I hope I did, because Haloview has done just that and come out with a new BT7 with TPMS. Stick around. I'm going to show you what this system looks like, how to use it, and we'll put it through the test and see how it performs. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you guys with unpackaging this. It comes perfectly packaged in all of this foam to protect it, so you get good packaging. What I've done is I've laid everything out on the table for you that comes with the system. On this side of the table is all the camera system stuff. Obviously your monitor, you're going to have one monitor. Over here is your TPMS system. So what comes with it, as always with the camera system, in this one you get a backup camera. And for anybody that has the question, can you add side cameras? The answer is yes. I already had side cameras on my RV. When we get to booting the system up and showing you how to set things up, and I'll show you real quick, once again, just how to set up the cameras and pair the cameras to the system. Other than that, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on how to hook up the system or how to hook up the cameras. I think everybody pretty much knows that. You've got a hot and a ground wire. There are other systems that I've reviewed. Obviously, I've done several reviews over the years on backup cameras, and I'll link one of those up here so you can go if you want to reference that as far as how to hook up the cameras. So you're going to get a backup camera that also has a microphone on it and a speaker on the monitor, so whoever might be back behind you guiding you, they can speak and you can hear them in real time. That's really nice. You're going to get 3 antennas, 2 of which I already have on the monitor. 1 goes on the backup camera. If you have a long rig, you can also order an extension kit for this, which is going to come with a cable that'll run from the camera on the back of your rig to the front of the rig on the roof with a bigger antenna, so that if you have any lag or anything like that, you can rectify that by just putting the extension kit. Also going to come with all of your power supplies. You're going to get a 12-volt cord, and you're also going to get a cord that I have hooked up right now that you can put on just a regular like charging block you get with your cell phones, and plug it in. So if you want to bring this inside and use it as a monitoring system, you can do that. As always, Haloview gives you a couple of different options for mounting in your vehicle. You get suction cup, and then there's another one that has like a double sticky tape on it. So you get everything you need to get it set up. On this side, the kit comes with 6 tire pressure monitoring sensors that go on each tire. If you've got a triple axle, obviously you have enough there. We have just tandem axles, so I'm going to use 5 of these. I'm going to use them on the wheels, obviously, and then I'm going to also put one on the spare tire. And when we fire this system up and get a closer look at it, you'll see what that looks like on the screen. The system also comes with 2 signal boosters for the TPMS. What the book recommends is you start out with 1, depending on the length of your RV. On the front of the RV, if it's a travel trailer, they recommend you put it on the tongue on the front. If it's a fifth wheel, somewhere in the front. Also comes with, this came with 9 batteries for the sensors. And then, of course, you get like some zip ties, things like that. So the sensors for the tires, I'm going to dump this out, hopefully show you. You're going to have some locking nuts that will go on your valve stems on your tires first, and then the sensors will screw on, and then you can use this tool to tighten this nut up, kind of an anti-theft thing. You have to have this special little tool so nobody can just walk up, take one of your sensors. Okay, so that's what you're going to get in the kit. So let's take a look at what's involved in, I'm going to focus mostly on the TPMS because we've done this camera system over and over, and I think everybody's pretty familiar with that. Again, if you're not familiar with that, I'm going to link up at the top one of the previous videos where I show those steps, just so we don't waste a lot of time with this one. So let's fire this system up, take a look at what it looks like, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about how to install the TPMS and get that up and running. Okay, so I have the camera booted up as if it was booted up and running inside the cab of my truck. You can run this inside your RV and use it as a security system if you like, and add a micro SD card in the slot so that you can record if you're using this as a security system. To access the menu items, you're going to tap the screen once and you can see channel 1 through 4, a Q mode, and also this is where you're going to access your menu items. So if you're programming a camera, if you're adding more cameras, number one, the backup camera, the camera that goes on the rear of your coach, is going to come prepared already on the screen from the manufacturer, and it's going to default to channel number 3. So if you're adding any other cameras, basically what you're going to do is this. So in my case, I have side cameras. Camera number 1 or channel number 1 is my driver's side. As you can see there, it's already programmed, but I can tap that again, go into the menu items, hit pairing, and once it goes into this and starts counting down, you have 50 seconds to go to that camera, and like you see here on this camera, push the button that's on the bottom of the camera, and when you come back to your monitor, that display should be up on that monitor, just like that. Okay, so that's how you pair a camera to your system. Let's move on to what everybody really wants to see, is the TPMS. In order to access more menu items, you just simply tap the screen a second time, and you can see your TPMS is to the right here. You're going to select TPMS. Now, when it comes to programming your sensors, you can do that one of two ways. You can do what they call auto program, which is kind of a simple process, or you can go in and do it manually. On the top of these sensors, there is a number engraved in it. So you're going to use those numbers if you decide to do this manually. Now, the first thing you're going to do before we get into programming is going to be to install the battery in each sensor. You simply unscrew the cap on the top of the sensor, and you're going to slide the battery in and then replace the cap over the top of the sensor. One real quick tip to save yourself a lot of time and a lot of frustration running back and forth or needing a second set of hands when you're programming the sensors. If you've got a little battery pack, use that with the supplied USB cord that comes with the camera and plug that in and take it to every tire with you. You can watch the whole process right there, one spot. You're not running back and forth or having somebody watch it for you, so you can just shorten up the process that much more. Okay, so we're going to get the passenger side wheels, the sensors installed, and we're going to do this in the auto install. So first you're going to get your locking nut put on your valve stem, screw that on and screw that on as far as it'll go. Okay, now you're going to go to your monitor and you're going to select the appropriate wheel. You're going to tap that. And what's going to happen is it's going to highlight that yellow around that wheel, and then you're going to hit the auto learn button, and while it's saying waiting, go ahead and screw the sensor on, and as soon as it catches it, you'll hear a beep and it'll read the pressure, and you're all set. That tire's done. Now you can go back in manually, and I'll show you that when we get back inside, and we can set manually our high pressure, low pressure alerts and temperature alerts and things like that. So basically you're going to repeat that to the next tire. Okay, so now you can see each tire location looks a little different. If they're not paired with the sensor, they're grayed out, but once they're paired with the sensor, they turn blue. The first number is going to be your tire pressure, and the second number is your tire temperature. So you can see I have the passenger side done and the spare tire done. So what we're going to do now is, first thing we're going to do is go in and look at our alert parameters. So we're going to select that tire, and so down here where it says axle 4 high pressure, because we've selected axle 4, so basically you're just going to tap where that number's at, and it's going to highlight around in the yellow. So we're going to back this. I want it at 130, but just for the sake of this video, I'm going to change that to 128. And once the 128 is in there, then you're going to hit this return button over here, and that's the save button. You'll hear it beep, and now that's saved. So I'm going to go ahead and tap it because I want to keep it at 130. I don't want to forget that I changed it. So I want to put it back at 130 because my cold pressure is 110, and then it beeps to save it. So you do that for every tire. And you can see I have that one done already. Let's go back to the first tire and make sure I set the low pressure at 92 psi. Same thing with that one. And the high temperature over here is 158 degrees. All right, so now that we've done that, let's go into programming the other side of the trailer, which would be this axle 4 on that side and axle 5 on that side. Now, I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to put it up there. There's numbers etched on, like I mentioned earlier, on these caps. So you're going to select the tire. We're going to go into manual ID, tap that, and then we're going to enter that. This one is DD. You got to get it in just the right light because they're etched in there the same color. 0043. And then we're going to hit enter, and you hear the beep. And so you can see it turn blue, but it's reading 0 pressure. Now I got to go out and put it on that tire. The disadvantage I can see to doing this manually is you could probably easily get these sensors mixed up in your hand and put them on the wrong tire. So I would just program them in manually and then go screw them on the tire or put a piece of tape on them and mark them or something so you don't get those mixed up. Okay, so I ran out, put that sensor on the tire, and you can see it's reading 110 psi at 75 degrees. When I got back in, it was already up and running and showing the numbers. Keep in mind that every time you shut the monitor off or you turn it back on, all of these sensors are going to have to communicate again all over again with the monitor, so it may take a few minutes before you start seeing numbers. So let's go ahead and do the last tire. Okay, now that I have that last tire installed, you can see it's alerting at 110, and I did that purposely. You can see down here the high pressure is set at 50 psi, and I purposely did that to show you guys what it sounds like and what it looks like if something alerts. So let's go back to the camera screens, and here's that icon that will show up. You can see we're on camera mode now, but we have this icon right here that showed up that there's a tire alerting. So if all we're doing is monitoring traffic, things like that, and this happens, we can just tap that. It'll automatically take us the tire pressure monitoring screen. As far as hooking up the booster goes, it's very straightforward. You're going to find the location. The first one I'm going to put up on the frame on the front of my fifth wheel. It's straightforward. You're going to attach it somehow. It has a double sticky tape on there. I'm not going to trust just that. I'm also going to use these brackets here to put some screws in so that they don't come undone. They come with alligator clips on each end. I'm not going to use those either because as far as trusting the double sticky tape and just alligators, as far as RV travel, that's a recipe for disaster. We know we're pulling rolling earthquakes down the road, right? So I'm going to hardwire these in and also add some screws. So it's just that. I'm going to put one on the front, on the side of the frame, and another one back by my axles. There's 2 LED lights on the boosters. One's going to tell you that it's got power and it's working. The other is going to tell you if the boosters are communicating back and forth. So I'm going to go find some 12-volt sources that are steady 12-volt sources, and I'm going to get these attached, and I should be good to go. Okay, so let's take a quick look of where I decided to put my signal boosters. For 2 reasons I decided to use both of them initially. Number 1 is because of the length of our RV, and number 2 is because with our last system it only had 1 signal booster mounted up front here, and you can see it right here next to this signal booster, and I would regularly lose signal on the tires on the passenger side, so I just wanted to kind of avoid that right out of the gate. So you can see right here in the front, I've got this one mounted to the frame, and I had some easy access into the battery compartment for the wires, so I had a constant 12-volt source there for that booster. And then I moved back to the back here and just in front of the axles, where I was fortunate enough to find another 12 volt, constant 12 volt source that actually feeds some USB ports on the wall inside my slide out. So I was fortunate enough to find that. You want a constant 12 volt source so that the TPMS is always working when that monitor is turned on. That's the nice thing about this, is they're two separate systems all in one, but they're actually two separate systems. So you don't actually have to turn your running lights on to activate the system like you do the cameras. So it'll be constantly monitoring those tires. Okay, so you've watched the complete overview of the system, and now that I've had a chance to use it, let's talk about how it performed. So as far as the camera goes, it worked great. I love the resolution, just like all of the other Haloview systems. I am using the larger antenna that comes with the antenna extension kit with the coax cable that you can run the antenna to the front of your coach. I'm just using the large antenna on the camera itself, and it's working flawlessly. So until I have any issues, I'm not going to use the coax cable and extend it to the front of the rig. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So enough said about the camera. It works great. Now let's talk about the TPMS. So in the past, I've been using the TST system for my TPMS, excuse me, and I've been pretty much happy with it, with the exception of losing signal on the tires going down the road from time to time. And there'll be times that I'll lose signal, and it's mostly the passenger side of my RV. Again, I have a 44-foot long fifth wheel, so it has some length to it. And I've been thinking about experimenting. I've already moved the signal booster once to the outside, from the inside front compartment to the outside. I thought it helped a little bit, but I'm still losing signal on the passenger side and the spare tire. So I was thinking about moving that sensor, or that booster, further back again. And then this system came, so I decided to try that out and hold off on that. So let's do a little comparison first. I left the TST on and used the Haloview at the same time. One thing that I noticed that I really didn't pay much attention to in the past on a travel day, one of the things that I would do is come out, set up my GPS to know where I was going, and then turn on the TPMS so that it would wake up all the sensors and get them reading before it was time to leave. So while I was prepping the coach for travel, it would be doing that. I never really paid much attention to how long that took until I decided to do a comparison side by side with the Haloview. The Haloview, at least one of the sensors would wake up almost immediately, and within 3 minutes, all 5 sensors, one of them including the spare tire, were reading just fine, temperatures and pressures. Within 3 minutes, I only had one sensor on the TST, and after 10 minutes, I gave up. It was the spare tire and one of the front tires on the driver's side were the only ones reading. And like I said, after 10 minutes, I just kind of gave up. So I have no idea how long the TST was really taking to be fully operational to go down the road. But I know the Haloview is ready within 3 minutes or less sometimes. So I like that feature already. Another thing that I like about the Haloview over the TST is, on the Haloview system, as you can see here, it'll show you the readings on all tires at all times, versus the TST, which rotates through the tires, and you can only see the readings on the tires one at a time. So that's one thing I don't really like about the TST. I never paid much attention to it before until this system. I do have a friend that had a catastrophic failure of a tire, and the TST never alerted, and when he talked to TST about it, the reason he said it probably never alerted was because it rotates through those tires and has to wake up every sensor every rotation. So if you have a failure in between a rotation of that tire, you may never read that you had a failure. So it's really nice to see and be able to monitor every tire all the time. So I like that. Another thing I like about the Haloview is they give you plenty of room on this monitor for multiple tires. So you can see they have it set up for a triple axle trailer plus a spare tire, plus they have it set up for 2 rear axles with dualies, and then 2 front tires on your tow vehicle, or if you're using this on, say, a big Class A diesel pusher, you have enough space on this monitor for multiple tires. So I like that. I also like that it's easy to use as far as programming like we showed you earlier. So I think this is going to be a great system. I really appreciate the fact that now I can take 2 monitors and turn them into 1. And as you can see, I've reconfigured the whole thing now, so the only thing on my dashboard now is my GPS, and I was able to put my Haloview system down on the console and have it out of the way, and I have a much more clear vision of my windshield now, so I really appreciate that. So what don't I like about this system? You know, I tried hard to find something I didn't like about it, and I did find one thing. When it alerts if you have a tire issue, the beeping, as far as the volume goes, I think they need to make that so that it goes louder and more obnoxious to get your attention. So just in case you're going down the road beep-bopping to your favorite jam and you've got that turned up, you may miss that. So that's the only thing that I could really find that I didn't like about the system, is the fact that the volume for an alert just wasn't loud enough. I think this is going to be a great system. I'm really looking forward to using it. It's making life a lot more easy for me, and I think that this is going to be a game changer as far as the backup camera and TPMS systems. I think they knocked this one out of the ballpark. And the fact that they already did their research and decided to include 2 boosters so that people wouldn't have signal drop is a game changer for me. I love the fact that we're not dropping signal. Like I said, 6.5-hour travel day, we never dropped signal one time. That included going through metropolitan areas where I've had problems before, and I think what that is just a lot of signal interference when you go through a congested area like that. Not a problem at all. So if you're interested in this system, of course I'll leave a link down below where you can go check out the system and order the system if you like. And as usual, thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to be notified for the next review or the next video.